Rape and molestation. I'm putting them together. They are not the same thing. They are have very different causes and explanations for, definitions of. But in the land of PTSD, the actions, reactions, triggers, nightmares, terrors, fears, long-term side effects, they tend to be very similar. So I'm not putting them together because they're the same thing. I'm putting them together because in overcoming them, a lot of the things that to help you get over it, I hate that phrase, will be similar. So in recovery, for both male and female. And that is definitely something that the molestation is not just girls. A great deal of men have talked to me about their childhood molestations, and they generally say something like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. My response is usually because I'm listening, because a lot of times we are kept silent, well, they're almost always kept silent at or during around the event, and then even when you've grown from molestation or years after a rape, you're often silenced because people don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to it. They are not strong enough to handle an event that you lived through and experienced. So if you're talking to or trying to talk to one of those people, find somebody else to talk to. If they shut you down, if they clip you, if they make you feel like you're just talking into the wind, there's other people to talk to. PTSD.online is up and functional. It needs a new form, but it's there to go talk to other rape victims or other molestation victims, because we need to be able to talk about those things. In the child abuse, and I talked about the trauma or your issues or your event, but I actually don't really believe in that so much. I think that if you're trying to talk about a trauma without talking about the actual trauma, it's like cleaning the snow out of your driveway with a spoon. You can do it. It is possible. But most people get frustrated and give up, wait for the snow to just melt on its own, but sometimes it's still snowing, so what kind of good is that? So I think it is very, very important to talk about the actual experience and the thing that you are actually having nightmares about, or you are actually seeing in your flashbacks, the things that are actually bothering you. And when we verbalize those things, that can help the healing happen. And there are so many others that, like you, have not been able to discuss these issues specifically and address them point blank. It's one of the reasons I think the male molestation is probably reported even less than females, is because men have that stigma that because they were male, they should have been strong enough to prevent it, they should have been able to, there was some kind of something, and other men are not as likely to listen to a story about being molested when you were 6 or 7 or 4, or so that's kind of, it's not just for women that it's embarrassing about, it's men too. But we need to not be embarrassed. It is not if we were the child and somebody was a grown-up, it's not that we should have known better or we should have done something. The grown-up should have not. And as long as we're silent, it basically gives them permission to go do it again. And there's a lot of coverings there too. I've heard some pretty awful stories. But I think I should actually break this up into, separate the molestation from the rape. But I do want you to know that I'm putting them in the same file, shall we say. I hate all these labels. There's so many labels. Because the recovery from them is relatively the same, even though the issues are different, the types of molestation are different, the types of rapes are different. There's different features, factors, things that come into play. However, the recovery is often similar. So they're in the same category. And I'm going to stop here and open up again.